Right, that's the loop. That's the loop. Welcome, welcome. That's the loop. Let's look at this Lifeline console. I'm actually really impressed with this thing. Um, I do like RC-20 a lot, but there are things that this one can do that RC-20 cannot, which I love. So that being said, we're gonna take a look at that, and yeah. So that was the track right there. Just a little. Every morning I've been waking up and sitting down in my studio and just seeing what happens, and these little 4 8 bar loops have been happening lately, which I like. So yeah, just building upon those and just seeing what happens, little loops, and not judging it too hard, but definitely want to add some flavor to these guitars that I just laid. I'll solo those for you. This has Lifeline console on it already. Right. So, I love the fact that you can customize the flutter, the wow and the flutter. So in this case, I'm really just using this sine wave as a flutter, as a vibrato rather. I'm using the flutter as a vibrato. That's all the way. And mind you, we have a mix knob here, so if I want it just to be subtle without, okay, a little chorusing. That right there actually is dope. Different flavor, but you know. Right, so what if we pick a random wave? This is more traditional, like RC-20. Again though. So different, That's interesting. Okay, yeah. I do like this vibrato though. Just like that maybe. Right. So, you know, there's there are methods of achieving the same result. RC-20 is definitely one of them, which I like. Let's put this on here. I really don't get me wrong. I love RC-20. Love it, love it, love it. Matter of fact, this is what I used a lot for the splice loops that I have maybe over 200 loops on splice. Just search my last name, Cadenhead, and we can do that here. If we go to splice, right? I'm already logged in. but you can just type in my last name, Cadenhead, like that. And yeah, you'll see them here, 217 results, right? So Travis Scottish, right? Yeah, there's yeah, all type of stuff. This one's called Chucky. Hey, so but that being said, a lot of this stuff. Forgot about this one. Right. So yeah, even that, I think I remember a common thing that I would do, and this is tip number one, is sort of run cassette before or after RC-20. And if you don't know what cassette is, um, I will also just pull that up for you on this guitars sub mix here. Cassette, right? This is by far my favorite of the sort of plugins that we're looking at. This is a cassette by itself. All right, turn the noise down. And this is one thing that you have to do. This is one thing that I do to make sure I'm hearing exactly what the plugin is doing. You got to balance the balance the outputs. So that, like, for example, if I have the output at 0, um, and I bypass this, it's a lot louder than the original. Right. So if I want no change to the actual output, I just have to, lower that a bit. But okay, so it's the same exact volume, but now at least we're hearing, So this artifacts knob. Right. Different tapes. I like this one. And you can go in here in this cog wheel and change the wow depth, flutter depth. All right. Randomness. Degradation depth and rate. Just, dropouts depth. And this snap right here. Okay, and this was updated, which I love this trigger button because there are a few of these loops where like the start of the loop has a snap on it because when I was outputting from Studio One, what am I trying to say? Basically, you couldn't control the random snap. Obviously, it was random, but now I love that you have this trigger button that you can use to trigger the dropouts. I bet you can automate that. That would be amazing if you can automate that. I'll dig into that to see. But that being said, I just talked about RC-20 going into cassette or vice versa. So cassette is here now. Let's put RC-20 before it. Well, first of all, let me go to a preset. 1978. Let's see. Except not the noise. Right, that noise is from RC-20. Right, so we just got to go in here and tame it down. See that random snap from cassette. Turn that off. Okay, no distortion. Maybe some digital. All right, bit reduction. Blend it. All right, you change the width. Make it darker. Cut these frequencies. There we go. Okay, there's some buzzing here. Maybe that's the signal. I don't know. I'm not mad at it though. Right, so but this Lifeline console, man, let's listen to some of these presets here. I really haven't. I just got this the other day. I really haven't been through all of this. But first of all, hold on. I need to save this as a preset. Save. Okay. Star vibrato. Sure. All right. All right. Here we go. Presets. All. Okay. I like that yours starts at the top. I'm gonna favorite that. All right. Here we go. Oh. Oh, it's a lot of high frequency stuff going on. What if I bring the highs down? That's the tape noise? I don't know about that. Okay, it's darker. Alright. I'm not mad at that. And what is this? Dry, clean, vintage. Again, bypass. Okay, so bring the output down. There we go. What I do love about this that you can't do with RC-20 is like rearrange the modules. To me, this is sick. You can do because it makes a big difference, what order this stuff goes in. And just I want you to figure it out. Just get in there and get your hands dirty if you have this. What is this? Maybe the trim? I don't know what this is. But yeah, I love that you can arrange them. All right, analog EP. Wow. Oh, Is that because I'm sorry about that. Wow. Um, yeah, moving on, but I need to figure out this preset, but oh, what's this? What is it? Oh man. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like this a lot. I do. I'm not sold on the tape sound, but maybe that's right. Ah, I bypassed it, obviously. Okay. So a little chorus right here. Okay. It's got a nice sound. Subtle. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. If you want to get really weird, you could automate this stuff. Like assign this to a knob. Matter of fact, what if I can do that right now? Yeah, control 1 right here. Okay. Speed, yes. This will go right here. No, 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 no. I forget how this. Oh, the blue button. There we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can assign all this stuff to knobs, and to me, that's the fun part of working with these plugins and having some sort of like I have a Korg Nano control with a bunch of knobs and faders and stuff like this. So yeah, it's cool to be able to just use them like that. You can perform them in, perform them in. If you set the output of this track, for example, like the output of main, you can like let's see, right, okay, I would have an audio track stereo and have the input of this be the guitar's bus, right? So right, input monitor. Okay, so but yeah, so now with that being said, let's record this little snap in just as an example. Right, let me record this. Right, so all those moves I made are now on this track. Okay, so and now mind you, I'm sure you can do that on RC-20 as well. Like, let's see, if I were to, can I assign this wobble to number 2 right here? Is it this wobble? Oh, will it let me? I don't know. Let's see. Volume, add. Uh, mm, yeah, not sure at the moment, but maybe you can. Maybe you can if you're watching this after the stream is over and you do that. Let me know. But I to be fair, in practice, I personally have never done that, especially not the stuff on Splice. I just use the controls. To me, it's all about convenience. Yes, when you take the time and set it up and do all that, mind you, that wasn't really that inconvenient. However, Yeah, for sound design, I don't know, who knows? Maybe you need to go that far, maybe you don't. That's up to you. But anyway, yeah, so RC-20, Lifeline console first, then RC-20. So maybe I want the modulation from Lifeline. Let me. Right, so maybe I want the vibrato from Lifeline, but I want the flutter from RC-20. Right? Another way to do this is to parallel process these. Basically just duplicate this guitar's bus and like, yeah, copy channel strip settings. Okay, make a new bus, paste channel strip settings. Right, and then take off, you know, like this. Take off RC-20 from the first one. And you can like blend. In this case, we want to make sure the mix is up. Let's send it to. No. Anyway, yeah, that's what's up with that. So, parallel processing. Yeah, you figure it out. Let me know how it's supposed to be done. How about that? But yes, I do like to produce into God Particle. It just makes everything. It makes everything sound really good. What else can I say? But yeah, highly recommend checking that out. I'll make a separate video on this, but this Silver Spring by Teletone Audio is so good. So good. All the different models. Check it out if you haven't. Watch the video on Teletone Audio website or YouTube channel. I'll get into that in another video. But I use that all the time. Right? So, yeah, cassette, RC-20, Lifeline console. There's another one, that I like called Sketch Cassette. Okay. It sounds fine. I've used this, but honestly, they're kind of all the same, to be honest with you. They're really all the same. Anybody who tells you they could tell a difference, I don't know. Maybe you can. Hard to believe after all these years. I thought I could, back in the day. I thought I could, but anyway. So that being said, Yeah, sketch cassette is another one. Cassette, right? RC-20, Lifeline Console. Okay, here's one that I bet you haven't seen. If you've seen this, let me know in the comments. Crow Hill Audio's Piano Rack FX. Okay, they made this for pianos, but there's a lot of processing going on here in one little unit, right? So, yeah, let's check it out. Scroll through the presets. Wow. Really interesting. Okay, now I want to hear this particular preset on a piano. Because, maybe they designed these with pianos in mind. I'm using them with guitars, but that being said, you can do a lot of stuff. Let me put this on the insert. Yep. Why is this not in stereo? Okay. That's weird. I'll just quickly add it again right on top of it. Let's see. Right on the channel. This one. Load. What is going on? Okay. Here we go. Super weird. Wow. All right. Come on. What was the name of that preset? Let me just check what the name of this preset is. Guitars. Okay, Blended Beyond. All right, Blended Beyond. Where do I find Blended Beyond? Factory. Is it Ambience? Blended Beyond. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Okay, that's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I was delayed. Ha. Ha. All right. Right, it's like a sound on sound looper. You could change the bars. This is nasty right here. That's super nice. So yeah, yeah, these are really good plugins, and this chain, that's these plugins are sort of for that, lo-fi cassette, vinyl, this type of thing. Lifeline Console, RC-20, cassette, sketch cassette, and piano rack by Crow Hill Audio. Now let's talk about like bit crushers or degraders. Do I have it on this? Yes. Okay, there's one that I love that I use a lot. This is the SP950 based off a sampler. So like, let's hear it on these guitar. Is it on guitars? Yes. Okay, so you can change the output, stereo, mono sum, stereo mid, stereo side. Let's go stereo side and see. All right. All right. You can tune the noise and filter it. I like that. And fine tune the noise. Right? And this is your wet knob. 50%. I mean, it's subtle, but it gives it that little grit up top, Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, it gives it that grit. So SP950, right? What's another one? Okay, wow. Okay, in the last category, I forgot about this one. How could I? Baby Audio Super VHS. Maybe you've heard of this one already. Again, these plugins aren't new, but I love that this has a reverb on it. The wash, like a spring reverb. Right? You can change the output, the mix. Double click it, it goes back. If I have it down here, just double click it, it goes back. Okay, so VHS. Mix. Okay, so that's pretty sick. And yeah, I would run this into cassette. Oh, hold on, let me turn off this SP950. My fault. There we go. Now let's hear the shape. Right here. Right. I would run this through cassette. Okay. To me, that's cool when the noise from the previous plugin gets modified by this artifacts knob here. Right? Make it smaller. So the different EQ curves, right? Pro, home. I tend to use micro a lot for parts that are meant to be in the background. And I use this erasures a lot. Gives it a thicker sound. And the spread knob can make it a little more mono. But I do like where the guitars sit for the most part in the stereo field. right? So then on this track, just take off some top end. Right? To me, that's, I mean, that's so nice. Right, what do I have on this? On the piano. All right, I got a compressor. And look at this cassette. Again, erasures all the way up. Spread, you know, yeah, a little mono. Okay, so this stuff, you got to be subtle with it, especially if you're going to start stacking these filters and stuff, right? So, and then what is this? Okay, right, this is my plugin here. This is Roadcase 88. Little pad in there. What if I change it from synth strings to 80s flute? Right. Okay, maybe it's a bit washy, which was the point, but there's too much build up in the mid range. See that? We just pull that down a little bit. Let's hear that with the guitars. RJ, what's up, man? RJ Ronquillo in the building. Man, I love your channel, love your playing. Miami's own. But yes. So that's what's up, man. What else is on here? I do have some drums on here. Why do I have them muted? Right. Yes. So what's going on here? All right, I'm using this pure plate. This is one of my favorite reverbs in the UAD collection. I subscribe to UAD Spark. I'm gonna make a separate video on that too. But by far the best value for your money, if you ask me, as far as sound design tools. But so why am I putting a reverb on the actual track? You know what I mean? Isn't that like a sin? You're supposed to be on a send over here, which I do have. You know. Um, on the drums, okay, right. This is for the side chain. I'm side chaining the bass to the drums. You see so this compressor that's on the bass is listening to the kick. And it's being ducked by the bass drum. You know? So, right, but let's talk about these drums here. Why did I put an insert, a reverb here? Well, because this is the drums master, right? And I have the kick, snare, hat, and clave all on separate tracks from Contact, and I'm using again Teletone Audio's Tempo plugin. Why am I? Yo, what is going on? Yeah, Tempo right here. So yeah, okay. what's going on there is on the snare, all right, I have the snare being sent to Silver Spring. And it's always best practice to name your buses, name everything really. But yeah, 100%. Um, all right, so first let me mute this plate reverb so you can hear what's going on. Okay. Okay, so I have the spring reverb on there on the snare for that, spring character. However, for this particular thing, this is meant to be this particular track will be under dialogue, for one of my videos or what have you. So with that intention, I'm mixing it and sound designing it, if you will, as such, right? So the drums will be a lot softer and lower. However, I love using this pre-delay in milliseconds. There's an app called Music Math that Dave Pensado uses to calculate um, the pre-delay milliseconds as far as when he wants it to trigger. So in this case, I wanted a sound that came after the snare like "Mm, usuka, mm, ga," it kind of answered the snare without it being like an attack sound. So I'm using this tail, this reverb tail. And I just kind of guessed here. I'm looking for 1, 2, and 3. I'm looking for an eighth note here in milliseconds. I don't know what that is. I didn't use the app. However, if you want to get very specific on you want a quarter note to happen at whatever milliseconds, it'll tell you what a quarter note is in milliseconds. So you can adjust this pre-delay like that. So that's what's going on here. All right. I had my headphones on backwards. Because you see the balance knob here. Right. So I'm panning the reverb that's on the drum bus. I'm panning that to one side, and then the snare from the spring reverb. Right. I want to pan this to the other side. So how do I get there? It's how did I do it again? Double clicking this. Yes. Lock pan to channel. Uncheck lock pan to channel. Now you can pan this reverb send to the other side. So if I have that on the right, I want to have this spring reverb on the left. Let's hear that. Right. Another thing you can do is also on the spring reverb channel itself is pan the channel to the left. Like let me mute the plate. See? All right, so this pan knob. That's another tip, to use to pan your reverbs and stack different reverbs, So right, so that I'm gonna mix that with this one on the left. Now this one, or on the right rather, this one's a little more heavy. So all right. So that's what I'll do. And I turn the bass on the reverb down so that the kick doesn't, trigger the reverb too much. There's the treble all the way up, but I want it to kind of be softer. So turn the treble down. All right, boom. Let's hear that. being soloed. Right. So now when you start EQing things, you start EQing the sources that are going to reverbs, you start to lose the effect. Right. So you got to there's noise coming from somewhere. I think it's Super VHS. Yes. Um anyway, this live has gone on way too long. So I'm going to save the replay. Everybody be able to see this. I have so much more to say, but for brevity's sake, maybe we'll make this another video, a part 2, let's say. And yeah, maybe there's enough in here to chop up and upload as videos on their own. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the channel. I'm doing this live because I'm committed to every Wednesday. Um, Come rain or come shine. Doesn't always work, due to touring or what have you. So, but anyway, that being said, thank you for watching up until this point, and we'll catch you on the next video.